My name is Mike. I'm a psychologist. I do individual counselling. I'm also a presenter. I've done groups. I've done live streaming on Facebook. I think that's most of the things that I do at the moment. Dads. No, so the idea of this is the current program that we're running anyway is aimed very much at new dads. So it's aimed at those with kids up to the age of about kind of 4 or 5. Any dads from any age, so that could include dads who are part-time dads in terms of living in separate houses, dads that haven't seen their kids for a while and then suddenly their kids back up and now they're instant dad and that's kind of freaking them out, dads who go into blended families, so now we're dealing with a range of that kind of stuff. We're currently working at least with FIFO dads or dads who are spending a lot of time out of the home at work. We're dealing with dads who are managing potentially their own kind of stuff in terms of perinatal anxiety and depression, but also being in a household where maybe the mum is dealing with that stuff as well. The core elements are very much around negotiating boundaries, communication, being able to establish kind of the roles of people, both yourself and your partner, in the parenting kind of process, as well as being able to be an individual within that as well. One of the first components that we look at is you as a person. So the idea is to look at who are you as a dad, as a partner, as a man, and getting a real sense of you as the individual and how that fits in the family dynamic now. The other parts we're talking about is what we refer to as restarting the relationship, and so that's much more about that. How do we kind of build connection? How do we create connection? How do we strengthen connection when there's the little potato with legs that's now part of this house as well, and all the kind of upheaval that goes along with that. And we also encourage the men that we're dealing with, or the dads, to also consider kind of where did they get their dadding from? So is there a model that they used as either this is what I want to be or this is what I want to avoid? Is that, you know, their own dad, their granddad, their uncles and aunties? Did they learn it from media? Have they learned it from comic books? So those kind of 4 components, very much the who am I in this, what are the boundaries and how do we kind of build this? What's the relationship and how do we kind of kickstart that back to us being a couple as well as parents? And then that idea of where does this kind of come from? Where do I get my ideas from? How do I know what it means to be a dad? At the moment, as I said, it's dads. In the end result, I'd like it to also be granddads, uncles, stepdads, foster dads, a broader spectrum. But no, there's no individual person that is not for. One of the things that I think people automatically assume when they think of a group or they think of a program like this is that we're all going to sit in a circle, we're going to sing Kumbaya, we're going to have to listen to your life story, and you're going to have to talk about all the traumatic things that have happened that have led you to, you know, where you might be feeling. What a group or a program really is about a shared space, an ability for dads to talk to other dads, and to have a couple of people in the room who might know some stuff that might be helpful. So our objective in any of the groups that we're running or anything that we're facilitating is that we've got bits and pieces of information, but you're going to learn from the other dads. And I think that's the bit where I think people come potentially expecting it to be a lecture. It's not a lecture. We have stuff that maybe we'll be asking, we want to talk about, but the reality is in a group or in a program like this, you can come along and not say anything. We might ask you the question occasionally, but there's no compulsion to talk. You don't have to share your story if you don't want to. And I think that's the thing that probably creates more of the stigma or the fear from people, is what am I going to have to explain, where that's kind of not what we're looking for. Well, the importance of social connection with other dads, similarly, it's the same as social connection with humans in general, or with other adults, or with other men. Pick your group that you want to say that it's helpful to have social connection with. In general, humans are social beings. There's a difference in kind of our energy when we are around other people versus when we're by ourselves. And there's a different energy when we're surrounded by a group of people as opposed to maybe only one or two people. And so I think the importance of that social connection is, there's a normalization. So it's a sense of, I'm struggling with this. Oh, you mean there's other people struggling with this? That's fantastic. Not fantastic, obviously, but it's like, great, I'm not by myself now. But I think there's also a lot of the times, as I said, Evan and I know stuff. That doesn't necessarily mean we know the right thing for you. And we're not experts in you, we're not experts in these things. So you might learn stuff. Another dad might go, oh, I did this, which we would never consider, or maybe it's even something we're like, wouldn't necessarily recommend that. But if it resonates with the dad who's asking the question, who needs that right now, then there's an element of who are we to kind of say that that's not the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. Now, within caveats of nobody's getting hurt and it's respectful and all that kind of stuff. But I think that social connection, a dad is more likely to listen to another dad. A dad is more likely to listen to a person who they feel is just like them. And sometimes the sheer label or role of professional means, well, you're going to tell me the answer, whereas this guy over here, he might just suggest what worked for him, and there might be 30% of that I can take, and 15% of that gone from that guy over there, and 30% from that guy over there. I think I'm up to about 75%, and 25% from these professionals. So I think it's maybe the succinct way, I know succinct, not me, would be to consider it like brainstorming. One of the fundamentals of brainstorming is you don't look for what's going to work and what's not going to work, you look for everything, and once you've got everything, then you pick out the bits that you feel are going to work the most. Yeah, there's no judgment, there's no expectations either. We're not expecting people to come in either having no idea or having all of the ideas. So there's no way we can kind of judge people because we don't have any expectations on what they'll know. Kind of maybe going along with the idea of why is there the stigma around groups and stuff? You don't have to expect it to be serious. I think that's something that anybody who's worked or been even around me long enough will know. The idea of this is, yes, there is serious stuff in it. Yes, we're going to be taking a serious angle, but doesn't mean we have to be serious all the time. So I think if anybody's concerned about, I be serious cat, this be serious thread, and we're going to have deep and meaningful conversations, there is some of that, totally. But there's also a whole heap of just like anecdotes and I'm very open in group about sharing some of the dumbass shit that I've done. The object of this, for the point of it being something that people can have a chuckle at, but take something from. So that I suppose would be my last kind of comment really, is it doesn't have to be serious. And pretty much any group that I'm in is not going to be serious 100% of the time. So, yeah. Absolutely, as I said, at the moment it's very much aimed at that kind of very early new dads. Any group that we run though, dads should absolutely just come along because, like I said, we know some stuff, but you're going to pick up things from different people that applies to a 3-year-old the same as it would apply to a 10 to a 13-year-old. Once they hit 18, 19, you've probably got a chance of changing some stuff. But arguably, I've had conversations with the dads about, you can have this conversation with your wife. There is pretty much no reason that I can think of that a dad wouldn't come along and find something useful from what we're doing.